Despite the removal from power of President Omar al-Bashir on April 11, mass protests in Sudan continue. On April 19, after the Friday prayer, hundreds of thousands of Sudanese again flocked to the streets, demanding the early transfer of power from the Transitional Military Council, TMC, which had taken power, to a civilian government. The coalition of opposition parties and movements, the Declaration of Freedom and Change Forces, DFCF, has called on the population to continue protesting until the TMC fulfills a number of requirements. The foremost among these is the immediate transfer of power to the transitional civilian government, which has been formed by the DFCF for a 4-year term. Other demands include the dissolution of the National Congress Party, NCP, and the transfer of its property to the state, the disbandment of the state security apparatus and the NCP paramilitary units, the abolition of all laws restricting freedoms, including those which discriminate against women, and the release of all political prisoners. The military leadership has agreed with most of the points, but insists on the TMC maintaining power for at least 1 month to ensure the stabilization in the country. The opposition categorically disagrees with this. It considers the TMC to be a new incarnation of the old Islamist military regime, and the overthrow of al-Bashir is essentially a palace coup, orchestrated in order to save the ruling group and its financial assets, beating revolution from below, while giving the crowd the illusion of victory. The ruling group, including the top army and state security brass, rightly fears that the opposition will initiate an objective investigation, not only of the use of force in the recent suppression of protests, but also of war crimes committed during armed conflicts, primarily in Darfur. In 2005, the UN International Commission of Inquiry on Darfur indicated that the use of military force against the civilian population of the region was disproportionate to the threat posed by the rebels and therefore could be qualified as a crime against humanity. In addition, there is a high probability that high-ranking military officers will be subject to a criminal corruption investigation. The army's leadership and other power structures, seeing that private soldiers and low-ranking officers have begun to side with the revolution, took over, displacing the president, but not giving any new power to the DFCF. At the same time, pressure on members of the Transitional Military Council has begun to grow. The coordinator of one of the refugee camps in central Darfur has already issued a statement that the current head of the TMC, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, was involved in arming the pro-government militia responsible for attacks against settlements in the region in the late 2000s. Moreover, according to the Sudanese opposition, the deputy head of the TMC, Hamdan Dagalo Hemedi, commander of the paramilitary operational support forces, had even illegally taken control over several gold mines in northern Darfur. Some other TMC members are accused of sympathizing with the NCP and harboring Islamist views. Let's block ads.